Hello and welcome back to another video. So in one of my previous videos I talked about all the improvements that Microsoft announced that they were going to make to Xbox Cloud Gaming, and now we finally got some of those. First, we got upgrades to the servers, which are now powered by Xbox Series X hardware rather than Xbox One S hardware. This promises us faster load times, higher resolutions at 1080p, and lower latency. The second update announced is now we can play on browsers like Chrome and Edge and Apple devices. So what I wanted to do now was show you the experience and the improvements, and then talk about how it compares, as well as explain how good it is overall. To start, I want to show you guys a load test. As you can see, load times aren't too bad, and honestly, it's significantly improved. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer if more people are on the servers, but most of the time it's quite quick. Now I'll show you the latency from my controller to the game itself. As I'm explaining the gameplay experience, there will be footage that I directly got, and just know that I played a lot more than this footage, but this was just the initial stuff that I took. I played 3 games to test out this new experience. I played an FPS in Halo 5, I played a sports game in NBA 2K, and I played a racing game in Dirt 5. Okay, let's start talking about latency, because that is something you guys saw in the beginning. And latency is significantly improved from the previous experience. However, it is still not perfect, and it's going to be hard to get that way, given this is still Xbox Cloud Gaming. In the past, I found it pretty hard to play particular sports games like 2K, where you gotta hold the button for the bar, and like FPS games like Halo, especially when you're playing multiplayer and it's more competitive. And still, you're not going to be nearly as competitive gaming while game streaming, particularly in FPS games, but I have found that it feels more playable now, and I feel like I can compete a little bit better. Before, it really did feel more like a mess with the latency in FPS games. Next, we have resolution. So Microsoft promised 1080p gaming. In my experience, it doesn't look nearly as good as native 1080p. There's a lot of artifacting, and this could be due to my internet connection, but at the time of gaming, I did test it and I was getting 400 megabytes per second download. So really, I don't expect my internet to be the thing causing this. It doesn't look terrible, but certainly not as good as if you were playing natively on your Xbox. I think it really tried to prioritize frame rates, which is likely a good thing, and frame rates felt like they held pretty steady. I didn't feel like I dropped many frames at all. But then again, it wasn't like I was playing 120 FPS by any means. Finally, as you saw, I think the biggest improvement from all these updates has to be in loading time. The loading time was actually pretty good, and I felt like it was better than if I was just playing on a Xbox One, for example. It's not as fast as if you're playing on a Series X or S, but I didn't feel like I waited very long, and it seemed pretty solid to me. So good job on Microsoft's part there. So I want to conclude that in comparison to the past, this is really a nice step. There are significant improvements on every single front, and I think it's getting closer and closer to becoming very viable for many gamers. With that said, the best experience is just going to be playing locally on your console. Now, in different situations, we still can use this. I can't wait to see the future of this. I think they're doing a really nice job. There are improvements that need to come, but good job Microsoft on this one. I thought the gaming experience overall was pretty good, and one of the best I've had on cloud gaming. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and peace.